No, ew. What kind of monster are you?
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
That's really fucked up, man. You really
Yeah,
should go
have
talk
you
to
done
someone
that?
about that.
Have you actually done that?
Okay.
I'm fairly certain he's done it. He wouldn't ask if he hadn't had some notion of it.
Maybe when Eric and I lived together.
It'd be funnier if you just moved next
Do the good old waffle stomp.
door. Yeah, exactly.
Hey everybody, welcome back to welcome back to Hard Reset is what this show is called. After a short 1 week break, welcome back to Hard Reset, a Cold North production. I'm your host, the Law Morris. Joining me this week, we have gorgeous Ben Reynolds
Meow.
and the tenacious Tim Miller.
I'm here against my will. Send help.
Well, neither of these men are in support of a good old-fashioned waffle stomp, so maybe we should just beat them up. You can see everything we do all in one spot over at coldnorthpro.com. Lots to cover tonight.
It's a great website.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to pause. Lots to cover tonight since we missed last week, including a wireless PlayStation VR, Cuphead coming to Nintendo Switch, Xbox One SAD reportedly has a release date, and Borderlands 3 is finally upon us. Halo is coming to PC, and what seems to be the biggest news of the week, Google is entering the world of video games. We have so much to discuss that we're going to get right into it with what we've been playing this week. Ben, tell me what you've been playing this week.
I've been playing Forza 4, and it's a lot of fun. It is just like, I mean, I have not had that much fun in a racing game in a long time. Between the seasons, the like car collection, and then just like also the whole like auction house where you can just like, it's like miniature fake eBay.
Gambling addiction.
You can just spend a ton of time playing that game and having a lot of fun. And not to mention the racing is really good too.
It's a racing game, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But so just to clarify, you mean Forza Horizon 4?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, sorry, not motorsport. I'm not a motorsport guy. That's too serious for me.
Too serious for Ben's type. There's no eBay simulator. The driving is like the main focus of the game. Come on.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I personally play my racing games to pretend that I'm on eBay. Yeah, that's actually, so it's a pretty cool game. What, because you're typically not someone that plays racing games. So what inspired you to dip into this one?
Well, I pay for Game Pass, and sometimes I feel like I'm not utilizing it for the fact that I pay for it. And so I was just like, the other day, like a week or two ago, I was sitting around and I was like, oh, I should just look at some of the games on there and download some Game Pass games rather than buying games. And Forza was on there, and it was like one of the most popular games, and I kept seeing it be in like one of the top categories for like a lot of categories. And I was like, well, those games are supposed to be fairly fun. And I'd kind of forgotten that I had played a little bit of Forza 3, and I remembered thinking that it was actually pretty fun too, but I didn't really ever get very deep into that. And then I started playing last week on Friday on my day off, and ended up playing for like a couple hours, and then like it was one of those things where I kept just having the urge to pick it up when I didn't have anybody to game other games with. And so and then it's also fun to play with each other, as we figured out last night.
Yeah. We played for like 3 hours last night, and then I'm getting off at like 1:15 in the morning, and Nathan is logging on to play Sea of Thieves, and Ben is like, come on. It's like,
I fell asleep while we were playing Sea of Thieves.
He totally did after we got attacked by a kraken.
It was kind of. I think I don't. Oh no, I do remember getting attacked by the Kraken.
Well, so I'm just quick fun story for the listeners. I'm logging off and Ben says, "Nah, come on, just you have PTO all week and just keep playing." And I was like, "Yeah, I have PTO, but I also have shit to do." And Ben was like, "What shit?" And I said, "I got to go register my car." And Ben said, "Well, you can do that tomorrow." "Well, you can do that the next day." So,
Exactly.
no, I logged off at 1:15, which is still absurdly late. Tim,
What's the point of PTO though?
that's true. Tim, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing way too much Sea of Thieves for my own good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nathan and I have kind of been on a tear with that lately, to the point where I've been staying up till 4:35 a.m. playing it and not even realizing it.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, the game pulls you in a way that it makes you seem like you're doing a lot over a short period of time, but actually it's been like 5 hours and you've only gotten one thing done.
And you actually have two of those types of games right now, because I've noticed that you've also been playing The Sims.
Yeah, don't want to talk about that either.
I've also been playing The Sims, and I don't want to talk about it either.
Oh, God. Okay, another little backstory. I got The Sims cheap for like $8 a few weeks ago on a PSN sale, and I was like talking to these guys about it and telling everyone how I was super into it for like a day, and now my girlfriend is obsessed with it, and then everyone else has been like, "Oh yeah, it's cheap. I'll get into The Sims." Tim bought it on PSN. I think you paid $8.
Yeah, $8, and I think I bought like one of the expansion packs because I was like, "Fuck it, why not?"
And Ben bought it on Origin for $5. And holy shit, will that game just consume your entire day?
Yeah, I spent 7 hours just sitting there playing the other day, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore.
Yeah.
I have a character who has 7 children. None of them live in his house.
How many mothers are there?
4 or 5. I think maybe on to we may be progressing towards the 6th.
See, I think that you are actually doing it in a much smarter way than Jillian is, because Jillian basically created a baby factory, and she has like a fucking assembly line of like toddler toilets and like,
oh yeah, fuck that. I wouldn't want to deal with the children. I have two brothers live in a house together. One of them is a criminal, and so he has like pretty failed attempts to try and hook up with the scraps of the other brother who's an athlete. And the brother who's the athlete is the one with 7 children.
Ben, you're just living out One Tree Hill in The Sims.
It's funny.
Oh,
That's
man.
funny.
So what you guys are experiencing with The Sims is the exact reason I played for one day, and I played for like 11 hours in one day, and then I just said, I'm never going to play this game again. And I haven't. And I'm better for it. But also, word to the wise, Tim. Oh, actually, I guess you play your PS4 in your bedroom. I got Jillian set up on remote play on The Sims, and so that's like she'll go to like I'll fall asleep and she's laying in bed playing remote play Sims, and then like I'll wake up, and as soon as she wakes up, she just picks up the controller and just keeps playing. And it's like this game is, I think, certified.
Do you have it set up so that she can play with a PS4 controller on her phone too?
I do, and I even bought her the clip to hold her phone.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
You've created an addiction.
Yeah,
You're an enabler.
I basically handed her the needle and the tourniquet, and I said, "Go nuts." So Tim, you've been playing The Sims and Sea of Thieves. I actually kind of just got the itch to play through Metal Gear Solid again. So I played all the way through the Twin Snakes again, but I've already spoken about Metal Gear Solid a lot on this podcast. So I'm trying not to do that more. So I actually, speaking of remote play, was laying in bed the other night, and I was just going through my phone, or I was on my phone on my PS4. And I was going through and I was like looking for something to play. I started Steep the other night, and like that game's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
I kind of, from like playing, there was a free weekend on Xbox, like I think around like a few months after the game came out, or maybe even like before the game came out. And I played quite a bit of it during that free weekend, just because I feel like it was like a little bit before ski season. And so it was one of those things where I was like, oh, it caused an itch, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then, I don't know, to me, it just felt like it was one of those games that wasn't very deep.
It might not be deep, but it's very steep.
It is steep. You are correct.
That was terrible.
Well, I'm also, I'm not even a dad. Ben is a father of 6. So I've actually been kind of getting the itch to play some extreme sports games recently, like SSX Tricky and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Tony Hawk's Underground. And there really isn't any contemporary on the current consoles, so Steep is kind of as close as it gets. Dipping into Steep, I would say it's very much a mixture of, it's somewhere between SSX and Amped, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's pretty fun. I would definitely recommend going back to it, giving it another try. It's difficult, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I heard that Tony Hawk has a new mobile game, and mobile games look pretty freaking crazy good these days.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious what that new Tony Hawk mobile game looks like.
He has a new mobile game. I was going to try it out, and then I remembered I hated mobile games, so I didn't. But I forgot. Yeah. What?
The other day, one of my coworkers was playing a mobile game, like a mobile NBA game on his iPhone, and I was like blown away by how good it looked.
Yeah, the graphics on mobile games are insane. And I actually didn't put this on our run of show, so I'm glad you brought this up now. There was actually a trailer released this week for Call of Duty Mobile, which is insane to me. Like, it's a full-on Call of Duty multiplayer experience on a cell phone.
Well, and it'll probably have seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I'm sure they're trying to capitalize on the popularity of, like, Fortnite Mobile, PUBG Mobile, and just trying to get a slice of that pie, which makes sense. But,
yeah,
God, it's crazy to me, because I remember when I was psyched that I could play Driver 3 on my phone, and it was like this terrible top-down game where I controlled with the arrows. It was just god-awful. But
I remember playing that.
Yeah. But so now it's time for the News in 5.
News in 5. News in 5.
Nice. All right, News in 5. Gearbox is teasing a new announcement at PAX East on Twitter. They tweeted last week, they tweeted out a picture that is very clearly in the Borderlands cel-shaded art style of a road, more specifically a road sign that says Boston, Massachusetts, March 28th. Now, for those of you that don't know, PAX East is in Boston, Massachusetts on March 28th. And the image is actually cut off at the top, but it very obviously says Exit 3. So, naturally, the big news, the announcement we've all been waiting for, Borderlands, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel, 3 Borderlands games are getting total remasters for 4K.
Boo. That's not what we're thinking at all.
No, it's not. It's definitely going to be Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
I've told that joke twice now, and both times, like, Ben, you were a little bit confused there. And the first time, the guy that I told it to was like, do you really think that, like, those games don't need to be remastered? So maybe I'm just bad at telling that joke.
You're just bad at jokes in general, I think.
All right, that's fair. But yeah, Borderlands 3 is finally coming to... It's finally getting a full-on announcement. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think this game is going to be, mostly?
More of the same.
Do you think? Or do you think it's going to be... Because Borderlands kind of birthed the looter shooter. They basically... Gearbox said, all right, we're going to take first-person shooters, we're going to take dungeon crawlers, and we're going to take RPGs, and we're going to throw them in an oven, and out comes Borderlands. And since then, the shared world shooter, like looter shooter type genre has really taken off. I mean, we've got Destiny, we've got Anthem, we've got a bunch of stuff. Do you think that it's going to be just more of the same, or do you think they're going to try and do the shared world thing?
I mean, hopefully they try to do something different, because otherwise I probably won't even try it. But if they do something that is genuinely different and looks like genuinely different, then I would probably be interested.
Tim, what do you think?
I honestly would be okay if it was just more of the same. I love the Borderlands games. I've played all of them way too much. All the DLC included. So like I'm all in at this point. Like I don't care if it's more of the same. It's going to be good. It's Borderlands. I expect nothing but greatness from it. So
see, I'm kind of with you, Tim, and Ben. Here's why: is because the like Destiny and Anthem and The Division and games like that have taken the looter shooter aspects of Borderlands and tried to put it in a shared world. And every single time one of those games comes out, they have problems at launch. And so, except with the minor exception of Division 2, but we're still kind of, that one's very, very fresh. So I think that in a weird way, to stand out as a looter shooter right now, what they could do is just not do the shared world thing and just go hard into what Borderlands has always been and make it the best Borderlands experience so far. But
well, I mean, yeah, but if they did that, then yeah. But I just I don't know. Like, I played a shit ton of the first one, and then I played a decent amount of the second one, but it just ended up feeling too similar to the first to me to make me interested to play more.
And you never played the pre-sequel, right?
No.
Yeah, I think that what Borderlands...
And, like, I played the first one, like, solo a bunch even, too, actually, before I played it.
You played the second one with Eric quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what Gearbox should have done, and maybe they did, I don't know, but what they should have done was they should have hired some of the Telltale writers when Telltale went under, because a lot of people say their favorite thing from the Borderlands universe is actually Tales from the Borderlands because of that story, and like they just captured everything that made Borderlands so special and unique so perfectly. And so, like, if they had hired a bunch of those writers to come in and write a really good story for Borderlands 3 and then just make it drop in, drop out co-op the same way Borderlands 1 and 2 were, and have it be very story driven, I think that could make it stand out in the world of looter shooters right now. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out what happens with Borderlands. Hopefully we'll find out what it's even going to be on March 28th. So, going to keep an eye out on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Reach is coming to the Master Chief Collection. I assume, based on the technicality, that you see Master Chief for a split second at the very end of the game. Spoiler alert. But more importantly, the Master Chief Collection is coming to PC. Now,
wait, more importantly, does that mean that I will have Halo Reach on Xbox One now then?
no. So, it's a little bit complicated. So, you can buy Halo ODST and it will show up in your Halo Reach or Halo Master Chief Collection. Same thing for Reach. I think it's going to be like $10 and then it'll show up in Master Chief Collection, and it's just a port of the 360 game.
If you buy it new, now, you just get the...
I don't know. That's a really good question, because they've been very vague about how this is being implemented into the current package for people that own it right now and for people that are buying it as it comes.
Now,
go ahead,
don't
Tim.
absolutely quote me on this, but I do remember reading something earlier last week that they said that the PC port will not be coming with Reach. It'll also be just a DLC pack that you can buy for it. So I assume they're going to go the same route with the Xbox version.
Okay.
So the PC port is actually going to be released staggered. It's going to be a staggered release.
Yep.
And they're doing it in story orders. So Reach is actually going to be the first one coming to PC. And I think that they're going to be able to buy either the Master Chief Collection altogether and then get them as they come out, or they're going to be able to buy them individually and download them as they download the ones they want. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure, but it's interesting that Reach is coming first to PC, and it's also interesting because this is the first time that a mainline Halo has been available on PC since 2007 when Halo 2 was released. I mean, this is what's even crazier about this is really big news actually for Microsoft and Halo and Xbox altogether. But what's even crazier is it will be available on the Microsoft Game Store, but it's also going to be available on Steam, which they own their store, and they're still going to be making it available on Steam for people to be able to, a cut of the profit to go to Steam.
Just making money.
I mean, it makes sense with Steam being the biggest game marketplace on PC. They'd be stupid not to throw it up there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so. And I mean, it's very obviously a money-driven decision of there will no doubt be people that, had it not been available on Steam, wouldn't have gone and bought it. But because it is available on Steam, will buy it. And I'm sure that that's a decent portion of people, clearly enough to justify the whatever, is it like 30% that Steam charges or that Steam takes?
I have no idea.
Steam takes a pretty hefty chunk.
You mean, and by Steam you mean Valve?
Valve, that's right. But they take a pretty significant portion of the sale. So, does this basically guarantee that Halo Infinite is going to be on PC?
I think it's a good step in the right direction. I think a lot of this is probably for testing all of that to make sure that it will work on PC, that their servers can handle it with that as well. So,
all right. I hadn't thought of it as like a test case. Ben, what were you going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Nothing better than what Tim said.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
So, okay. So with, I mean, I think that Infinite is coming to PC. They've been very forthcoming about the whole Play Anywhere initiative, pushing all exclusives and making them playable on both Xbox and PC. And that would, of course, include Halo Infinite. And then with this coming up, But what that does mean is that Halo 5 is going to be the odd man out. Because that would make every Halo game except Halo 5 available on PC.
That's a bad thing?
I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing. Halo 5 kind of sucks. But do you guys think that Halo 5 will eventually get a port to PC? Or will it get added to the Master Chief Collection?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it got added to the Master Chief Collection, just so they have all the games in one big pack, so that Halo Infinite then comes to that, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think it kind of just needs to function
just
as a platform.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If they make it into a platform for just Halo, then boom, you're all set. But honestly, I don't think I'd buy Halo 5 again as a standalone if it came to PC. I don't know anyone who would.
Are you going to buy it on PC? Are you going to buy Master Chief Collection on PC?
It depends on the price. It really does. If I have to pay another $60 or $40, however much it was when it came out, then no. Because I already have it on Xbox, and I'm more than capable of just playing it there.
Yeah, I've bought the Master Chief Collection a bunch of times. I bought it for myself, physical, and then I bought it digital when I bought my Xbox One S. I also bought it when I bought Ben's Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. And Ben, you're not a Halo fan, are you?
I like the campaigns. I don't like multiplayer because everybody just kicks my ass.
Okay. I mean, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
All right. And Cuphead is coming to the Nintendo Switch. So an announcement trailer was released earlier this week. Cuphead will be coming to Nintendo Switch on April 18th. Are you guys going to pull the trigger on Cuphead on Nintendo Switch?
I don't know. It's on Game Pass, so I might just play it on Xbox. Everybody said it's really good. It depends on how much it costs, I guess.
Is it on Game Pass?
I thought somebody said that the other day.
I thought it was, but then I went looking for it, and I don't think I found it.
Oh. Fair enough.
I have no idea. So
I mean, if it's on Game Pass, totally, I'm just going to play it there because Game Pass is such a great deal, and is Cuphead on Game Pass. But Game Pass is such a great deal, and it's just like, if I have it available there, I'm honestly not even that interested in the game. So I probably won't buy it on Switch. And it's not even like really my type of game. I'm not crazy about bullet hells.
It was Andrew and Nathan who were really into it, right?
I think Zach was really into the idea too. I think Zach really likes
Zach
to play.
really into the artwork?
Yeah, he really likes the artwork, which can't blame him there. Jesus Christ, the artwork is amazing.
yeah, the game is beautiful.
But Zach really likes playing those indies, like those big name indies on his Switch. And so makes sense that he would want to play Cuphead. I mean, maybe I'll get it. It's $20 on Xbox and it's $20 on PC. If it's $20 on Switch and I'm bored one day, then maybe. I'm still playing Golf Story on Switch, which is really awesome. So I don't know.
Personally, I think I'm just going to pass on it as a whole. I've seen it. I've watched speedruns of it. I've not really been into it. It's not a game that I've ever been like, yeah, I really want to play that. So I think I'm just going to pass altogether.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, it's an interesting game for sure, and I think what's most interesting is that it's always been so heavily advertised as an Xbox exclusive, and now it's on Switch, which is absolutely a direct result of Nintendo and Microsoft buddying up lately.
And now that you mention that, are we going to see Master Chief Collection come to Switch at some point?
Hell no, that will not happen.
You say that. Give it a year.
Master Chief coming to Smash, though.
Well, but what if you can play Xbox Game Pass and stuff on Switch, why wouldn't they let you buy and play Master Chief?
So I think the Halo 2 Anniversary in particular, but also Halo 4 are both very, very demanding, and I think way too demanding for the Switch. But I think that what you're referring to, not necessarily Game Pass, but Project xCloud, is something that we're going to get to in a bit when we talk about Google. But I think that maybe xCloud would be the only way we could see Halo Master Chief Collection on Switch. But the Xbox One SAD is in the news again. The Xbox One S All Digital Edition is rumored to be released on May 7th. That's like right around the corner. That's like 6 weeks away, and we don't even have official word that this thing even exists. How confident do you guys feel like this is coming in May?
I mean, if it does, great, but there's a lot of problems with it if you ask me.
Ben?
I mean, I think it sounds like a cool idea. I mean, I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
In gaming, it's cool that it comes preloaded with games too.
Yeah, so that article you shared today about it having, like, you can order it preloaded with games, the games you want. I think that that's something I hadn't considered before, but that's such a weird concept to me, because it feels like if they're willing to sell it to you with games preloaded, then essentially they're acknowledging the fact that you don't have fast enough internet to download games, which wouldn't that make the Xbox basically useless except for those games?
Well, I mean, unless you like went to your aunt's house who had fast internet or something like that.
Go to your family members. That's a solution Apple would provide. You're holding the phone wrong. Just hold it this way.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I mean, I think that, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think they're going to probably tell you that it doesn't make sense to buy it if you don't have fast internet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that that's one of those things that frustrates people the most about game consoles now, is that they get them and they open the box and then they have to fucking sit there for
hours.
Like 20 minutes or even, or more. Like, because usually the console has to update, then you put in the game has to download, then the game has to update, then finally you can play the game.
Yeah. I mean,
and
very famously,
and like you probably had to set up your accounts and stuff too. So yeah, it's like taking you a while. So if the console comes preloaded, then you can open the box and just whip it out and start playing games, which I think is a big selling point to people, especially kids.
Oh yeah, sign in, play games. Like that's true. I mean, very famously, Tim, I'm not sure when you bought a Wii U, but I bought a Wii U at launch, and I was super psyched, and I got the last one at the Walmart that I went to. The morning the console came out, I rushed home and I plugged it in, and then the day one update for Wii U took literally 6 hours to download.
Yikes.
And that sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get mine at launch, but my roommate at the time did. And I don't remember the update taking that long, but
it took
I have a terrible memory, so
fucking hours, and I could not believe it. It was the worst, but it was a really cool console once it was updated. So, but yeah, Ben, I think you
require a dongle to plug it into Ethernet.
No, Wii U had an Ethernet port, I'm pretty sure.
Huh?
No, it didn't.
Okay,
you had to get a USB adapter to Ethernet. Is weird.
All right, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah,
just like the Switch
and the Wii before it.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, networking and online stuff has never actually been Nintendo's big focus, so I can't exactly knock it for that.
Not even close. But yeah, Ben, you make a really good point that like that could be a huge selling point of like, hey, like order your Xbox through the Microsoft Store, and that way Microsoft is like they're making a bigger profit because they don't have that middleman retailer. They're selling it directly
and they're
to
selling
you.
the games too.
And they're selling you the games, and they're making sure that they're the only ones you can buy games from, unless you're buying a code somewhere. But like that's a big selling point of like, you know, coming up this Christmas season, hey, let's buy the kids an Xbox One S. It's $150. I'm going to tell Microsoft what games I want. They're going to take care of it and just mail it to us. That's a big selling point. I hadn't thought of that.
Exactly.
And that's a really good thing. Like, games are already installed. Just sign in and play.
Exactly. Well, and then it's even like an extra present for the kid, or opening an extra present for the kid, because like, unless the box does say which games are installed on there, then they wouldn't know what games are installed until they turned it on.
Oh yeah, that would be like such a fun thing. Thinking about being a kid on Christmas morning and like your dad gives you an Xbox One, and it's like, it would be like because I don't know. I remember when we were kids, Drew Schroeder for Christmas got they were opening presents, and he opened up Pokemon Yellow before he opened up his Game Boy. And so he like knows what's coming up. But my parents were always careful to make sure I opened the console first. And then I see all these like game shaped boxes, and I see them and I'm like, oh, this is so great. I'm going to I get to open these. And it's sort of the same of like the kids get to open it up and plug it in and see what dad ordered to be put on there for them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I hadn't considered that until you sent us that article, and you're making it an even better point of like just ease of use, man. That's actually a really good idea now that I'm thinking about it. But
and that way they turn $150 product into a
$300
product. $300 product. Yeah, exactly.
3 games loaded, 4 games loaded when they're on sale. Like that's $300. Yep. So, also now, new patents have been filed by Sony, the big dog, to indicate that they're preparing a wireless PSVR headset. Now, this seems like a logical step for Sony. HTC, the Vive Pro has the wireless adapter. Oculus has moved in the other direction, creating a standalone headset that doesn't require a console or a PC or anything. And Sony seems to be sort of headed in that wireless direction. I would love to buy a wireless PSVR headset. How confident do you guys feel that Sony is going to, A, release this, and B, move PSVR into the next generation?
Because you just mentioned the next generation, I feel like this wireless probably won't come to PS4. I feel like it'll be exclusively for PS5.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Mainly because we're at the end of the life cycle. It's very apparent we're going to be getting the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever, within the next year or two.
Yeah.
So
I think late 2020.
And
at the latest.
Yeah, I think that's totally right. I would agree with Tim. And then because then I think it's gonna. I don't know that the PS4 would be able to power a wireless headset.
The compute power to send that wireless, that's something that I hadn't even thought of. And Tim, you mentioned you don't think it'll come to PS5. And Ben, that's exactly what immediately occurred to me when Tim said that was the compute power required to send it wirelessly. I just don't think is there in the PS4 or even the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
But the PS5, that's where it's at. And I think that the PS5, I honestly, the PSVR headset is so good that just cut the cable. Don't change anything else. Just cut the cable. And I would love it. I would buy it.
Yeah.
But do you guys think that we're going to aside from the possibility of buying a wireless PSVR headset, do you guys think that the current PSVR headset will carry into the PS5? Will it be forwards compatible with PS5?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
I could see that too. Because, oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
No, go right ahead.
I was just going to say that, yeah. No. I guess I was going to ask a question. I was going to ask you guys what all does the PSVR come with? Like, it comes with like the headset and the hand things, and then what else?
So it depends on which bundle you buy, but the deluxe bundle is the headset, the Move controllers, the camera, and the breakout box.
What's the breakout box?
It's an extra compute unit that you have to like plug into your PS4, and then you plug your headset into the breakout box, and it adds like. There's been a lot of speculation about what specifically the breakout box does, but people aren't sure, and Sony has never told us. But a lot of people say that it's what allows the PS4 to not only display the image on the PSVR headset, but also on the TV of what the person is seeing.
Okay, and like split it to two so your eyes
are
processing it properly and stuff.
Right, because then essentially what it's doing is it's displaying the same image 3 times. So it has to display it once for each eye and then once on the TV so people can watch what you're doing. And that's a big ask to display the same image 3 times.
So I could see it potentially like you could maybe even just drop the box and plug the headset straight into the PS5 maybe.
Oh, that would be really cool if the PS5 just had those ports straight on it.
Mm-hmm. Although that would waste a lot of space potentially.
Well, I mean, if they get rid of the disk drive, if companies are heading in that direction, you got the space now.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Too.
I don't think so. I think that, and we're going to talk about this with Google in just a few minutes. I don't think that the diskless model will be something that we'll be able to lean heavily on or even count on Microsoft and Sony making their primary effort until not the next generation coming up, but the one after that.
So I recently heard a thing on NPR that was with a guy who worked for he was like a regional. He essentially worked on regional, putting in like broadband in rural areas essentially, and he was talking about how back in the day when they put in like the phone lines, that was like the biggest thing, and the government actually subsidized putting that in because it was so important for like business and stuff. And they're working on like grants and stuff to get rural areas like brought up into modern times now, because it is such a big part of modern business now and everybody needs it. And it just makes things run better.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's like what they were saying is that people are actively making efforts to get government grants to have faster internet and stuff. And I think that companies like PlayStation or that like Sony and Microsoft and Google are seeing that, and Google obviously is investing in that as well.
Right.
With a lot of the projects that they work on. And so they are I think it's coming faster than you are thinking.
Okay, so Ben, you're giving me just a killer transition here, so I'm gonna grab hold of it. Google announced Google Stadia earlier this week. Google Stadia is a game streaming service. Basically, you can do it through any Chrome browser and boot up a game and be streaming it in real time within 5 seconds. And that's pretty impressive if it's real. but they're saying, and I mean, they threw out specs of 4K streams at 60 frames a second, which even to do that locally is an insane amount of compute power. They're saying 10.7 teraflops per instance. So to give you some perspective, the Xbox One X is the most powerful console on the market. Runs at about 6 teraflops. The PS4 Pro runs at about 4.7 teraflops. So per instance, it's about the same as a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One X, graphically at least, combined. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the 2080 Ti runs at about 12 teraflops. So it's more like the power of a 2070 being streamed straight to your computer. I think the big issue with this is going to be internet speeds. And Ben, going back to what you were saying about the government subsidizing and building out this network for the internet, maybe it is coming faster than we thought, but man, Google has got to be feeling pretty confident if they're going to unveil something like Stadia.
Now,
but does Stadia need to be a success for them? Really?
I don't think so.
That's the thing about it, is it doesn't need to be a huge success now, but if they're the first people to get into it, and then as more people start to get internet, and they're the first people who have the major game streaming service that works at that speed, you know, like they were the people who were there first, and it's like they have the resources that they can have it not be that successful at the beginning.
Well, so I mean, what you're suggesting is basically that they're like Tesla, because who the fuck else is making electric cars right now? Nobody. You want to?
Well,
I mean, there's
everyone is, because
there's Chevy.
California made them.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone is, but like, who's doing it seriously? And I was talking with Jillian the other day about like they all have their own little like, oh, this is the electric version, or this is like our one electric option, right? Chevy makes the Volt, Nissan makes the Leaf. Like they all have it. They all have their own little thing.
I think the Volt is dead, actually.
No, it's not. Linus Sebastian just bought a Volt. But the like they're so they all have their like one, this is our electric option, but they need to be fucking making them all electric. Like Honda shouldn't be like, oh yeah, you know, here's the 2020 Honda Civic and here's the Honda Insight. That's Honda's electric. Honda should just be like, here's the 2020 Honda Civic, and by the way, it's electric now and there's no gas option. Honda should just, like, they got to rip that Band-Aid off if they're going to, and if, like, the longer these car manufacturers wait to rip that Band-Aid off, the more of a stronghold Tesla builds in that industry, which is absolutely the future of the industry. And I think that, I think you're right that maybe Google is so far ahead of the game in video games that, like, nobody else is going to be able to compete.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily in video games, just in streaming, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I know you mentioned
or in
like internet.
power.
I know you mentioned internet connection being a big problem, and as far as I know, the requirements for the streaming are going to be you need to have internet connection of at least 15 megabytes per second.
That's not that.
Download and upload.
That's not that much.
That's
really not that.
That's not a big ask for download, but for upload, that's
Upload. Yeah, it's a bit much. Latency below 40 milliseconds between you and Google, and a data packet loss below 5%.
Okay. So just to give us a point of reference, I'm testing my internet speeds right now. I'm right next to my router. The 15 megabytes per second down is surprisingly low to me. But that could be bare minimum stuff. So, to give
that
you,
probably wouldn't be 4K.
Yeah, exactly. That would probably be streaming at like 480 or 720. But point of reference, I pay for I'm on the biggest internet carrier in my area, and I pay for their most expensive consumer available package. So there's nothing that's faster available to consumers in my area. And I just got 64 megs down, which is good. At least it's okay. I got 11.6 up, which is not meeting their minimum threshold. And I got a ping of 16 milliseconds. So the download and the ping, I'm okay. But the upload, I think, is going to be a major problem.
Yeah. Now, again, that's according to a TechRadar.com article that I'm looking at right now. So I haven't seen Google's actual statement on it. I'm actually trying to find it right now.
Yeah.
Just to see if I can.
How do you guys think that they're going to monetize this?
That's the big question. Is it going to be a subscription service like
Netflix,
say Netflix or Hulu? That's honestly the way I think they're probably going to go with it. I'm thinking something like $11.99 a month. You get unlimited access to all these games. Then there's probably like a premium $15.99 package for like priority streaming and all sorts of stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they went in that direction at all.
I could see there also being like a la carte options where because I think developers will be more willing to work with them if you can buy full $60 games on the platform as well.
That's right.
They need developers to be willing to work with them, because that's the thing that they don't have is relationships with developers.
Totally. And that's where I think Microsoft has the advantage, because Microsoft has Project xCloud coming up. And that's potentially, a competitor. They haven't been nearly as forthcoming with Project xCloud because it's not nearly as far along. But Microsoft has the foundation in the gaming industry, and they have the relationship with the developers. And also, I'm not sure. So Ben, I do agree with you that being able to sell a $60 game is totally that's how they're going to get developers to get on board. But also then they run into the problem of how long until how many hours can the player play before the game becomes not profitable for them. That's exactly why you can't buy games through PS Now, is because every single time you use that game, it costs Sony money. And so if you pay $60 one time and you play for, let's say, 1,000 hours, at some point, the game becomes not profitable. And it's actually costing them money to continue to serve you that game that you've already paid for.
Huh.
And so the way that Sony overcame that was the a la carte rental of you can rent this for 90 days for $15.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I think maybe that's the way they'll go. Maybe they'll have a package of here's the ones that you can play as much as you want. And then if you want new releases, well, you can rent it for 14 days for $5, or you can rent it for 30 days for 10 or $10, or you can rent it for 90 days for say 20 or $25. Maybe that's what they would do. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I mean, but Google does have after Amazon, they have the most almost the most server space, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And actually, going back to Linus Sebastian, I don't know how much you guys watch Linus Tech Tips. I watch Linus Tech Tips all the time. If you're listening to this, shout out. But I watch Linus Tech Tips all the time, and they actually did something really funny. They were working on what's the cheapest way to back up everything that they do. And they were looking at doing like just a tape drive, but that was going to cost them like $10,000. And then they found, like, they read the terms and conditions very carefully for Google Drive, and there was literally no limit. And so they just started uploading everything they had to Google Drive on one account. And it's like, when I say everything they have, they're currently working on what they call the petabyte project, where they have a petabyte server for their stuff to back up like their raw like 8K video footage. And they were uploading all their stuff, and then it came to Google's attention, and their Google rep reached out and they were like, hey guys, we get it that it wasn't in there. We're adding the language in there. You're not going to be able to do this. And they fully expected that. And in the video, or maybe it was a podcast that they talked about it, but they fully expected that. And they said, yeah, we totally expected them to not let us get away with this, but we thought maybe.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, but yeah, so Google announced a few things about Stadia. They didn't announce any pricing, but they did show us a pretty ugly fucking controller. Yeah,
that is a very ugly controller. But it looks like they're ugly phones, so.
Yeah. Bathtub notch all over again.
Stylistically, they've never been the greatest, let's be real. Have you seen the Chromecast?
Oh, God.
Yeah, for real.
Remember that, oh my God, I'm trying to remember what it was even called. It was like the Android Q, or Nexus Q. It was their...
Oh, God.
It was like the orb thing that sat on... It was supposed to be a set-top box, but it only did like DJing, and it had to be playing through a phone. It was basically just a Chromecast before Chromecast, but it only did music. Like,
that was pretty terrible.
Was that thing. But yeah, this controller is hideous. Oh, yep. Tim found a picture of it and shared it in chat. Yes, that is hideous.
Oh, God. Yeah, that is really bad.
Even so, after they were discontinued, I even looked and like tried to find one on Craigslist for cheap, just to have it as like a collectible of like, look how stupid this thing was.
Yeah.
Like every now and then,
to your PS Vita or your Vita TV or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would still love if I could find a PS TV or a Vita TV. If I could find a Vita TV for real cheap, I would love to have one of those on hand just for...
Wait, you sold it?
No. So I have a PS TV. But there's actually... The PS TV was the second gen. There was a first gen called the PS Vita TV, and it was Japanese exclusive. It was white, and that was literally the only difference. But I would love to have one of those just as like... Look how stupid this idea was. Even though it wasn't a stupid idea, it was actually a really great idea. But the execution was terrible.
You could have a terrible idea twice.
Yeah, I bought a PS Vita twice. Like,
I mean, you might as well just start a museum.
I would love to. That's actually, I spent a lot of time thinking about the things I would do if I won the lottery. And if I won the lottery, starting a video game museum is something that I would 100% do. But
fair enough.
Getting back to it, this controller is fucking hideous. And Tim, you pointed out the D-pad was, oh God.
It's god awful. I mean,
looks like it's gonna cut you.
I might be spoiled by the Switch, but I like the single button D-pad. It's wonderful, and I can't ever see myself going back to one like that. And it feels it just looks archaic. It doesn't seem like it would work well at all. And I mean, it might use micro switches. I doubt it, but
it's probably a lot like the one on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Normal controllers.
I mean, functionally, it's probably a lot like those. Stylistically, it's hideous, but I think that overall, this controller just looks like a shitty Chinese brand controller that you would buy to hook up to your iPhone or an Android phone.
Exactly.
And maybe that's just because we're not used to it. Like maybe when we see a new PlayStation controller, even if it's something that we're not used to, we see it as like it has some sort of legitimacy of like, this is a PlayStation controller. But
because it has the PlayStation logo.
Yeah. And I mean, and so maybe we're used to like, maybe Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo just have more credibility.
They got that street cred.
Yeah. But maybe not. I don't know. This thing is fucking terrible.
It is ugly. But one thing I will say that it has going for it is that it does, and it's going to directly connect to cloud, which will take a few steps out of the data transfer chain. And
oh, wow. That's
your input lag is going to be reduced incredibly. So it might be worth actually looking in to get one of these things.
And something that's really cool is the controller has a special button on it. And if you press the button, you can stream directly to YouTube. So actually, you can stream directly to YouTube through this thing. But then there's this special button on the controller. And if you press the button, it'll drop a link in your chat. And then anyone who has like a Stadia membership or whatever can click that link. And it will take them to an instance of the game exactly where you were with like the same character build and specs and everything. And they'll be able to pick up from there.
That's pretty awesome. I did not hear about that. I actually really like that feature if it works.
If it works, which like I think that's the most game-changing thing out there that's clearly like Google is clearly in touch with, or at least trying to understand what makes video games so popular and like trying to cater to that audience in the right way.
I might actually be able to beat The Witcher 3.
just have someone beat the Lubberkin for you.
Yeah, exactly. And just send me the link right after the Lubberkin's beat.
Listen, buddy, just do the Lubberkin, send me the link. I'll move forward.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's too funny. Okay, so just final thoughts on Google Stadia. What are you guys going to try it out? Do you guys think that this could be your next major platform for gaming?
It depends on the cost for me. If it's too expensive, I'll probably pass for a while. But if it's like cheap, then yeah, we'll see.
I wonder if that's why the controller is so cheap looking, because maybe the controller is going to be fucking cheap. And maybe there'll be options to buy more expensive controllers down the road. But I'm wondering if the controller is going to be cheap as fuck so that then
people will buy it.
Yeah, and then pay for the membership.
Oh,
or that they can get you to like pay like $20 for the fucking controller and then be like, yeah, here you get 2 months free or whatever. Yeah. Or a month free. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Just attach a taste of the subscription to the hardware. And that feature of like drop a link in the chat is something that I think is so game changing that a ton of people are going to want to use it. And literally the only way you're able to do it is with that controller. And so I think that a lot of streamers will end up buying the controller, playing on mouse and keyboard, and just having the controller there as nothing but a macro for that button.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If that's an option.
Yeah. So they have said that all mouse and keyboard and peripherals will work.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it really all does depend on the price and the connection requirements. And that's like, I feel like trying it will be the only way that I will get to see what the connection requirements are like. So, yeah, I don't know.
I agree. The price is going to be like, I mean, as with pretty much everything, the price is going to be the like dictating factor. I mean, we saw it happen in the last generation of consoles, the PS3, Xbox 360. Sony had a pretty tough time that generation because they launched at $500 and $600. And then we had this generation, Microsoft has had a tough time because they launched at $500. clearly this is a market that is at least somewhat price sensitive, and if they make this thing too expensive, it's gonna be rough.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The gamers have started to smarten up too, and I mean, we're not going to overpay for something that we know is definitely not worth it. Not anymore, anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm definitely going to at least try it out, whether it be like a free trial or if I pay for like 1 month, whatever it is. I'm at least going to try it. But I'm excited to see. Maybe it'll launch in 2019. They said 2019, so maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets delayed. But
oh yeah, I kind of feel like a lot of that's going to be like the Tesla people tell you that. Wes told me that he's because my friend Wes is buying a Tesla, and he told me that the Tesla guy told them that they'll be able to drive to the grocery store later this year and then press a button and get out at the door, and then the car will go park itself in a parking spot. And I was like, I don't believe that's coming out this year. And he's like, yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. So I saw in the Tesla subreddit, someone was actually saying, yeah, it could happen in the next few days. And I was like, are you guys that fucking delusional? Like, I get it. These cars are cool, but you're circle jerking that hard over these things. But
yeah.
Anyways.
I mean, I'm sure that they can do that right now, but the potential risks of doing that
are just let's have a car just drive itself around
in a parking lot where people have children walking with them and shit. Like, that's a great idea.
How could this possibly
Family of four smushed by self-moving car.
Well, so that's going to wrap up our discussion. We just really need to talk about some news because there was a lot of big news and we didn't have a show last week. But before we get going, I do want to know what you guys are going to be playing this week. So Ben, tell me what you're going to be playing.
Probably getting back into, not really. I never got really out of Apex, but I've dipped out of Apex a little. Probably going to get a little more back into it. There's a new character out. Octane. I don't have him unlocked yet, but he seems pretty cool. There's also the new Launchpad things, which are kind of a cool addition to the game. So yeah, I like them, or I like it.
All right. I'm pretty psyched about Octane too. Like, I've been a Pathfinder main since the game came out. But he has that really big hitbox, but supposedly that's getting fixed soon. So I don't know, but I'm going to give Octane a try. I think he looks pretty cool. And I also really like the backstory about his legs. Apparently, the lore is that because we've all played Titanfall 2 and remember the gauntlet at the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
So apparently the lore behind how Octane lost his legs was he was trying to break the world record for the gauntlet. And the way he was trying to do it was through a grenade jump, and he wound up blowing off his own legs. Which I think that's pretty cool that they're like building that level of lore.
And then he
into
ended
that
up becoming
universe.
an Apex Predator rather than.
Well, he's not Randy Orton.
So he just became he was a
Apex legend.
But the Apex Predators are what they're called in Titanfall.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Tim, tell me what you're going to be playing this week.
So I have a charity marathon event that I'll be running this Sunday for Star Fox 64, so I'm going to be putting pretty much all my time into practicing that and making sure that I'm in tip-top shape for that.
Well, that is awesome. Tell us where we can watch that and how we can download. Plug your shit right now.
Yep. So that run specifically is going to be Sunday night at around 8:30 at twitch.com. Well, twitch.tv. The channel will be /LilatR. It's going to be for an event that's going on all weekend called Hoot Fest. I'm also going to be participating Saturday night in their mystery game event, which I have no idea what we're going to be playing. All I know is it's an N64 game, so here's hoping that goes well.
What if you don't have it?
And we're going to be getting ROMs and everything for it, so.
That should have been obvious to me. I was like, but what if you don't have that cartridge?
How will you play it, Tim?
I've narrowed it down to a few games because it's supposed to take estimated an hour. And at least from the games that I know that the organizer of the community runs, which I'm very certain that it's one of those games. So I do have a good chunk of them. So I might actually be able to get away with my actual N64, which I hope I can, because I'd prefer to be able to play with an N64 controller instead of an Xbox controller.
Well,
yeah, that makes sense.
Mario 64, you can do a 0-star run in, 12 minutes?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to expect us to do freaking backwards long jumping on the fly without practicing that.
What about a 17-star run?
Still need backwards long jumping.
Yeah, you do. All right. And I'm going to be playing Metal Gear Solid 2 because I love Metal Gear Solid, but I'm not going to talk you guys' ear off about that tonight. So,
thank you.
Before we go, we have our weekly trivia challenge. This week's trivia question: what was the code name for the Kinect during its development? Was it A, Morpheus, B, Dolphin, C, Neo, or D, Natal?
A.
Yeah, I'm going to go with A, Morpheus.
Is that your final answer?
Of course.
Okay. Morpheus was actually the code name for the PlayStation VR. The code name for the Kinect was Project Natal.
Oh.
Well, no wonder it failed. It didn't reference the May for
Fuck, I'd remember that, actually. Now that you're saying that, I'm like picturing how it's spelled and everything.
That's right. And that's all we've got for you guys tonight. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever podcast service you found us on. Also, while you're at it, check out our other podcast, No Refunds, the podcast that watches bad movies so you don't have to. We'll be back next week.
We really did that this week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We really... The next episode coming out of that one, you're really going to want to tune in because you don't want to fucking watch that movie, I promise.
Yeah, for real.
But we'll be back next week talking about something we haven't really decided. So until then, reset.
Reset.
Reset.